day 3 of the 15th Commonwealth Regional Conference for Heads of Anti-Corruption Agencies in Africa is currently underway. It's all going down in Cape Town. The focus is on establishing an international anti-corruption court. Watching that story is SABC News reporter Bulelani Phillip, who joins us now live from Cape Town. And Bulelani, part of the objective here is also to share international best practice on how to combat something as sometimes elusive as corruption.
Good morning to you, Ayanda, and to the viewers at home. Of course, corruption is a big problem, not only in South Africa, but on the African continent. Figures coming out of this conference, an estimation of about $50 billion is expected to be lost there through illicit financial flows. So these heads of these anti-corruption units are here to put their heads together to see what strategies or innovation they can use to actually curb the problem of corruption. Now, to join me in this conversation, Advocate Motibi is the host at this conference and is the head of the Special Investigating Unit. Firstly, Advocate Motibi, what are your key takeouts at this conference so far?
No, thank you very much for this opportunity. We're really pleased that we could host this conference of the heads of anti-corruption authorities in Commonwealth Africa. And Commonwealth Africa, really, most of them here includes those who are from SADC and all other countries in Africa. So that gives us now a scale at which we can collaborate to ensure that all of those who commit acts of corruption and really hope and think that they can take assets to other member states. We're collaborating, as you correctly opened up, on strategies to ensure that we can trace those assets. Yesterday we spent quite some time really reviewing the strategies around mutual legal assistance, around how we can trace assets in our respective jurisdictions and ensure that we collaborate, even from an informal perspective. A head of anti-corruption authority in Namibia and Botswana and Tanzania should be able to pick up a call and call me or any of my counterparts at the DPCI, which is the Hawks and so on. And once they've done that, they would do that knowing where the assets are in South Africa. And we've had examples of those where they've indicated that we know where the assets are, we would trace them, we find them, and then we subject them through the mutual legal assistance program, the legal framework of ensuring that assets are legally repatriated, including fugitives. We've got our colleagues here from Malawi who have actually reasserted that they will cooperate in the extradition program.
So you'll be going after the fugitive Shepard Bushiri?
As you know, that the extradition process in Malawi is around Shepard Bushiri, and that's handled by our Department of Justice and the NPA. They are here. They have actually said and reasserted that they will really cooperate in that process. So that's the extent to which countries here are really determined on ensuring that strategies mitigate the issues around illicit financial flows, assets being taken out of the respective jurisdictions. With the illicit financial flows, I'm glad that you've mentioned that. And then you would recall that President Mbeki wrote a very good report around how is it that we really should be looking at the issue around illicit financial flows. By its very nature, the predicate offense. By predicate, it really means what is it that you do to cause illicit financial flows. More often, the basis of that is corruption, is crime, fraud, and the finances flow out illicitly outside of the country. But anyway, so we are here. You asking about the takeaways. Really, an important part, as we discussed yesterday, was the use of technology, right? Because as you know, that cyberspace is really being used by those who commit white-collar crimes, corruption, fraud. So we are seeking to ensure, we've been sharing some of the developments here. We've got an expert from UK that presented around the use of artificial intelligence. And out of that, a takeaway is that there's going to be a program where, because at SIU, we are already doing some data analytics, data modeling, so that we can determine the exposures So that builds on towards the use of AI as well, the tools that we use. Now that presentation of the expert from UK is going to result in a program where SIU is used as a model, and will work closely with them. And they indicated that they've got the capacity to mobilize funds which can be used. And once we have perfected that model, we'll share it with the other member states. And at the next annual conference of the heads, we will share the outcome of that program.
All right, the South African speakers that have been attending this conference, of course, have been focusing on our local problems, including the State Capture Commission. The Justice Raymond Zondo yesterday not happy about the implementation of the recommendations. R1 billion was spent on the commission. As the SIU, you've been able to collect around 12 billion, if I'm correct. Is that enough? And are you moving with speed in terms of ensuring that you reach the target of collecting or recovering the monies that were stolen through state capture?
Right, I'm glad you asked that question. So the topic of the Justice, former Chief Justice Zondo, he coined it in the following way: is fight against corruption better before the state capture or after the state capture? He coined it in that way. But anyway, the main focus is the commission submitted a report, right? So, as you probably know, is that the president submitted an action plan in Parliament, which has been monitored from the presidency, and all of us, all the law enforcement agencies are involved in ensuring that each one against whom an action is should really execute.
But the question, are you moving fast enough? That's the question. I think a lot of South Africans are complaining that a lot of money was used, but we don't see action in terms of the recoveries, or at least the action of recoveries is not going as fast as it should be.
Right. Well, I would probably just attest to that. We could move faster, I suppose, on all areas. And the recovery of 12 billion, by all of us, really is significant, because that really requires intense interrogation of the evidence and processes that goes to the special tribunal or even the high courts. 12 billion has been recovered back to the fiscus. So the other areas really is to ensure that the processes, because remember the commission also focused around state-owned entities, right? As you know, that the state-owned entities are really the ones that were quite vulnerable over and above other areas in government. So now the commission has also recommended around how is it that you improve the governance, how is it that you improve the appointment of directors to the state-owned entities and so on. And I know that the Department of Trade and Industry is seized with that, the CIPC, to ensure that the process of the appointment of directors and all of those that are said to be delinquent, right? And delinquency, of course, results from those who were there at the time, who allowed all of this, and they didn't execute their fiduciary duties appropriately. All of those delinquency processes are underway. But I do take your point. We can move faster, and we are seeking really to do that. There are processes where we meet almost every month under the watch of the President's office, particularly the DG in the presidency, and we go line by line on that action plan in terms of who should do what, which areas, and there has been quite a number of actions really put in place. Prosecution, there are a number of cases that we can point. Of course, we can do more, right?
With the extradition process that is up in the air for now, relating to the key proponents of state capture, the Guptas, I know they are not on the African continent. As the SIU, have you been roped in, or has there been a proclamation that actually gives you the authority to come and recover the assets or the monies that were stolen through state capture?
Thank you for that question again. As you would know, that there's various areas in various state-owned entities and state departments where the Gupta element, I would say, is present. At Transnet, we investigated and we found that regimen, which was part of the Gupta, facilitated some of the irregularities there. We've made findings, and we have took some of the big companies to court. We're seeking to recover, and we will also hold them to account. In AXA, we will do the same. In SAA, we will do the same. So the point I'm making is that those areas where they were involved, we're investigating them effectively to reach appropriate consequence management, recoveries, prosecution, and holding those directors who were there to account. Now, with the extradition part, you would be aware that since they left the country, there has been processes under the Department of Justice and NPA, and those processes continue. The UAE, they've worked very close with the Department of Justice, but there were issues that needed to be addressed. I'm sure my colleagues in Department of Justice and NPA are addressing that. So as a country, we will not relent. And you know that we work closely with Interpol, where there has been I think they call it a red notice, which alerts countries wherever they go to, so that they can alert us or Interpol. And you know what, as they say, the arm of the law is too long. We will get hold of them.
Lastly, before I let you go, you've also used this conference to launch the SIU Anti-Corruption and Cyber Academy.
Oh, yes.
Briefly, what does that academy aim to do?
That is for us really quite a significant milestone. That academy is going to focus on cyber and other investigative training capacity. We are collaborating with the French government. The French embassy or ambassador was here. We are collaborating with other national entities. That is going to deliver training, learning and development and we have already done that, to some of the entities nationally. We are going to, even in SADC, we have trained trainers from Malawi, yes, from Lesotho, and from Eswatini. We are now saying to the colleagues here, take this offer so that we can have that kind of an empowerment to our investigators, in particular around cyber that is being used by the criminals to commit these offenses.
Thank you so much, Advocate Andy Motibi. He is the head of the Special Investigating Unit. Ayanda, on that note, I will cross back to you in studio.
All right, Bulelani Phillip, info-packed interview there with Andy Motibi. For now, thanks very much indeed. We'll certainly keep watching that gathering as it unfolds. Bulelani Phillip is live to us there from the 15th Commonwealth Regional Conference of Heads of Anti-Corruption Agencies in Africa. Quite a mouthful. We'll keep up with him throughout the course of the day.